Welcome to the second of the ACS presentations. The purpose of this presentation is to provide guidance on the presentation and interview component of the ACS process. As a loss adjuster, you will be very well versed at dealing with people often in difficult and stressful situations, even if you do not routinely deliver presentations. This means that you will be well equipped to deliver this presentation and handling the discussion that will follow. This presentation will cover the following: what the examiners will be measuring, what to expect on the day, how to prepare, delivering the presentation, and getting your result. So let's start by looking at what the examiners will be measuring. This is set out in the examination handbook, and it explains that there are 4 competencies that will be reviewed, these being the technical competence, informed decision making, effective claim management, and effective communication. The handbook provides full details on what is meant by each of these, so you should read this thoroughly. You should be aware that examiners will be looking for you to expand on your written submission, and this is your opportunity to explain some of the aspects within your critical analysis in more detail. The examiners will be judging your ability to explain your technical competence, so citing case law, statutes, etc. to support your informed decision making will be useful. You should highlight how you went about managing the claim, providing examples, and as the panel will be judging your oral communication skills, make sure that you use plenty of eye contact and have a confident air about you. When considering the structure of your presentation, make sure you tell the panel what you're going to tell them. In other words, signpost the presentation. For example, now I'm going to tell you about the magnitude of the loss. Then tell them about the magnitude of the loss, and at the end of the presentation, summarise what you have told them. The usual presentation approach is tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you've told them. So what to expect on the day? The majority of ACS panels sit in London, and the Institute staff are always very pleased when a member arrives for the session, and you can be assured of a very warm welcome, a drink and firm support. We want you to do your best. When the panel is ready, we will take you into the room. This is usually set up with the panel on one side of a table and the candidate on the other. The chair of the panel will introduce the panel members to you and put you at your ease. I'm now going to talk about the actual process. The panel will have read your dissertation and will have had time to discuss it in detail with their colleagues and will have marked it with points to raise. Having welcomed you to the panel, the chair will invite you to deliver your presentation. You will be reminded that you have 10 minutes to deliver your presentation, and following this there will be around about 1.5 hours of discussion between you and the panel. Remember, you have set the agenda with your submission and presentation, so you will be well versed on the subject matter. Following your presentation, the panel chair will normally explain that the panel have a number of questions to ask concerning the presentation and the dissertation. Remember, I said that the panel will have notes over their dissertation and questions to raise. Usually, during your presentation, you would have answered some of the points they had in mind, so they may well skip some questions they had planned. Do not be put off by this, and that would be a good indicator. Often, a panel member will ask a question. For example, you said that the cause of the damage was a leaking pipe in the roof space and that there was a stillage warranty. Can you explain what is meant by a stillage warranty? You give a clear answer, which is correct, but not wholly complete. The panel member may believe that you know more than you've let on, and ask a supplementary question such as, how would you go about verifying that the stillage warranty had been complied with? This gives the opportunity for the panel to drill down and understand the depth of your knowledge. So you should expect your technical knowledge to be judged. Where you have relied on insurance principles, expect to be asked to back this up with statutes and case law. Usually, about an hour is spent on your critical analysis and about 30 minutes on the summary of experience. It is most important that you have provided 6 cases that provide a sufficiently wide experience. This could be divided between different perils, different types of premises, and different technical issues. A word of warning though, you set the agenda. If you have only ever dealt with a handful of, say, employer's liability claims, but you add one to your summary of experience, expect to be questioned on it. Remember, you must mostly be correct on your technical responses. As a slight contrast to this, it is important that you are able to handle situations where you do not know what to do. For example, you may well be an adjuster who handles commercial losses, but may not be the expert in business interruption. If you are dealing with commercial loss, it is important that you are able to explain what you would do to at least mitigate the potential business interruption claim from the outset, and it would be well worth being well versed at that early stage. So how to prepare for your presentation? Firstly, know your cases inside out. Think of all the awkward issues and critically assess what you did. Play devil's advocate with your case and have responses ready to the questions that you might otherwise dread. With regard to your presentation, you're not being judged in comparison to a professional presenter. However, a good way to study presenting is to watch a politician delivering a speech. They will speak slowly, using plain, understandable language. They will pause, take the eye of the audience, and sound very assured. You will, of course, know your case, and I would suggest that you start by explaining the most simple things: your name, how long you've been acting as a loss adjuster, the overall scope and experience that you have, both in terms of technical and geographical perhaps. Many candidates fail because they do not show sufficient depth of experience. The panel cannot second guess at your experience, so tell them. Restrict this to no more than, say, 2 minutes. The first 2 minutes will then be easy, and you will be off to a flying start. Knowing your submission well, you, like most of us, will have noticed issues that you could have explained in more detail. This is your opportunity to do this. You may wish to write out your presentation in full, edit it, and then get used to delivering it. As the presentation means a lot to you, you will naturally be nervous. That is normal. Preparation is all, so practice, practice, practice. Get used to delivering the presentation aloud, perhaps in a darkened room, and to your cat or dog. When you are brave enough, deliver the presentation to yourself, perhaps to a mirror. Keep good eye contact, smile, notice where you wish to put extra emphasis, and pause for breath. Unless you are very familiar with PowerPoint or other presentation software, I would recommend that you stay away from this. Using prompt cards only leaves little to go wrong. Practice going into and out of the room. You will have notes with you and perhaps hard copies of your presentation. Remember, the less you take in, the less you have to worry about leaving behind. So, if for example it's a wet day and you have a coat and an umbrella, leave that with the Institute staff. They'll be pleased to help you in this respect. Arrive at least 15 minutes early. Have time to check your appearance so that you can walk in with a confident smile. So let's now look at delivering the presentation. The first question is to stand or not to stand. You are delivering in a small room to 3 people. Standing may come across as overbearing and you will be looking down at the panel. It is your choice, but most candidates do in fact sit. Make sure there is a glass of water and you have a sip before you start. Any notes you are using should be neatly presented and preferably stiff cards with notes on them. This means that you will be using key points to remind you of the point you are going to talk about. Address the panel. Try to look at the panel members in the eye, each in turn. Remember, when you catch their eye, they will pay far greater attention and hear your message. Pace yourself, and as you have practiced the presentation, you will know that it will last no longer than 10 minutes. When you come to the end, make sure that there is an ending. A phrase such as, "So now that I have expanded on my written presentation, I will now be delighted to answer questions that I'm sure that you will have." Getting the result. The Institute will issue a notice of the result within 2 working days, irrespective of the result. The result can be issued by email, but you must provide the Institute with written permission for the result to be sent by email. Of course, your work email may be seen by others before you, so you may wish to provide us with a private email address for this particular purpose. I do hope that this presentation has assisted you. I have covered what the examiners will be measuring, what to expect on the day, how to prepare, delivering your presentation, and getting your result. Success is well and truly in your hands. Your institute wants you to succeed by reaching the required standard and is here to support you. Whilst I wish you luck, I do know with adequate preparation you will not need luck because you will succeed. Thank you.